Hey guys, and welcome back to the Blaze podcast with Ed Kimberley. Stu Coles is with us, hiding away in the background doing all the recording stuff that I'm not intelligent enough to do. Defenseman Nate Halbert is our guest. Nate, thank you so much for joining us. It feels like a heck of a long time ago since we met in the summer, but really time hasn't really gone by that much as it is. But it feels like a long time ago.
It does feel like a long time ago, but I guess lots of stuff's happened between, and that's why.
Yep, and that's kind of what we're here to catch up about on, because you were like the really interesting case, right? And I guess we took the mick out of you a little bit when you signed, having been born in Nottingham, having some family up in Glasgow, if I remember rightly, and then obviously signing for the Blaze. But having been more aware of the Elite League from childhood, and I guess some guys that come over, what's it been like for you as an experience? I mean, is the level of hockey over here kind of what you expected? Has it surprised you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely been not what I thought. It's more physical league than I was expecting. I knew it was close to the North American style in terms of a lot of North American guys kind of come over. There's whatever it is, 14 imports. So the North American game is here in terms of physicality and guys hitting and finishing checks. So that's definitely one of the things that kind of surprised me in terms of what I was expecting when I came over. The other thing is there's some crafty forwards out there that if you're not paying attention or don't have a good gap or whatever it is, you're caught out tired of there, they'll make you pay. So it kind of, I guess those would be the two biggest things that surprised me since coming over.
Yeah, for sure. And it's your first full pro season too, because you had the short stint in Laval straight out of McGill, and then I think you got injured, and then COVID hit. So for a first pro season too, it's I guess it's been an experience.
It has. Yeah, I mean, last year I spent most of the year up in the press box due to injury or just lots of bodies on the roster. So I watched a lot of hockey. So this year, kind of, getting the games in, and we've got a busy stretch coming up. So kind of more that pro lifestyle in terms of a lot more games, less practicing, and kind of just, if you have a good game, kind of roll with it. If you have a bad game, you got another one coming up soon that you get to kind of right the ship. So.
And what's the experience of Coventry been like as a place to play hockey, as a place to live, and as an organization?
Yeah, I mean, I like the organization a lot. It's kind of a much more of a, I guess, a smaller family feel to it than I'm sure the big clubs do, such as Sheffield and Belfast. So you definitely got that, like, we're all in this together kind of feel, and you're not going to be getting shipped out at Christmas. If you haven't been putting up as many points as you should have or whatever it is, kind of like the other teams do. So it's kind of that we're all in this together feel. In terms of the city, it's there's not a ton of beauty around, I guess, in terms of landmarks or um, natural kind of things that you get to go see. But you got good, like, a good bunch of guys, and there's things in the city to do. We love hitting up certain spots for lunches or dinners or drinks, and when we can, we get out to Birmingham or other cities, London and stuff around. So it's well centered for that, and we've been trying to make the most of it, even with all the delays and canceled games we had a couple months ago. Still trying to get out and see things.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that actually, because this group has been through some adversity this year, hasn't it? We had obviously we've had this stint with COVID quite recently, which caused us a couple of weeks out. We've had Zamboni's breakdown. We've had glass come out of the sanctions and break holes in the ice. We had the plant melt. We got hit pretty hard with DOPS, I think, right at the beginning of the season. So having a close-knit group and have that adversity, it kind of binds the team together, right? That's how I kind of look at it.
It does. When you kind of realize it feels a bit like it's the league, the world, everything against us. It kind of, you look around the room and it's the guys in there that are going to get the job done. So there's no point pointing fingers or complaining about it, because it is what it is. And complaining about the ice being melted or a huge chip in the ice because the glass broke or whatever it is. Zamboni breaking down is not going to get you anywhere. But funny, when the Zamboni did break down, we obviously knew about it, but the fans didn't know about it yet. So they were all lining up outside, and we were actually went back out and started playing football outside, throwing a American football around and kicking a foot like a soccer ball around, I guess. And fans are kind of walking by us, looking at us like we had two heads on. Like, the game starts in 2 minutes. Like, what are you guys doing out here playing? So I was, no, we had to tell them, no, the Zamboni's broken. So, but yeah, that was definitely an interesting game. I don't know how long we had to wait around for that. It was 2 hours or something, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So
I think
it
it's
was,
pretty close to 2 hours.
yeah.
It's one of those things, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things you kind of laugh about, and you'll definitely, remember those stories for
Yeah.
later on when the playing days are done.
That's part of it, though, right? That's the kind of the reason you do it is not only for because you only go around once, right? But to have the fun and to regale those stories.
Yeah.
I mean, Fife, for example, I mean, earlier in the season, I mean, their bus caught fire on the way down, like their brakes blew out or something. And do you remember they came right close to face off? We did like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was chatting to one of their guys, and they were like, "Oh, the bus caught fire. That's why we were late." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I didn't know that was why they were late. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
I've made
hockey
it
though
out to
for you.
sound more grand than it was. It was literally like the brakes overheated, and there was a little bit of
Uh,
flame, but still.
uh, I think we even had it was during that stretch of the ice breaking and everything, and then we were going up to Glasgow, and we get there, and the bus driver says, "Yeah, we're not going." And we're like, "Well, what do you mean we're not going?" He's like, "Oh, the winds are too strong up in Scotland. We're not allowed to leave." So I'm sitting here, I'm like, we're about to have a game canceled due to high winds. I'm like, what is happening? Like, this is like a stretch where we missed a bunch of games. So this is just, I think I was suspended that game anyway, so it didn't matter too much for me. But I was like, can you imagine a game getting canceled due to high winds? But we ended up getting up there, and I think we won in shootout. So I was glad we made the trip.
Because it seems to be like a bit of a common thing, that just to let your folks or your friends know how you got on after the game. Can you imagine calling them and they were like, "Oh, how did you get on?" I was like, "I cancelled." "Oh, why? What happened?" "High winds." How do you explain that one?
Yeah, actually,
That's
well,
a good
like I said, I was suspended that game, but I've got family up in Glasgow, so I was gonna go up
Yeah.
anyways and have dinner with them before the game and some drinks and stuff. But um, then I called them or something like that, and I said, "Yeah, we may not be coming up. There's high winds." And he's high winds. He's like, and so he had the exact reaction. He's like, "What are you talking about, high winds?" He says, "It's sunny and fine here." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know where the winds are, but they're along the way somewhere."
I didn't know that one. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
tell that one to people who don't listen to this episode.
there you go.
But you've as back to action on the ice. You've been paired with the skipper all year, or pretty much all year. For the odd game here and there. What's it been like with paired with Hammer? Because it seems like you've got a really dynamic yin yang relationship how you play.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you can have a partner of his stature, it's a blessing. We often joke, full-time friends, full-time partners.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think at this point we've played with each other enough to kind of, know each other, what each other's gonna do, and generally that's me moving up with a puck and him, staying back and covering my butt when I turn it over. So it's a good dynamic I think we got going on. I don't know if Stewie enjoys that it always ends up being that way, but he definitely covers for me a lot more than I do for him. So I appreciate
Yeah.
the skip.
Like the ability for you to like skate up the ice and join the rush as aggressively as you do. Is that something at this level that has kind of surprised you that you're able to do? Because when we first spoke, I seem to remember you saying, that I'm a pretty steady defenseman. I take care of my own zone. You didn't tell us you like to get 200 foot from the net.
Yeah, I maybe it's the bigger ice that
Mm.
just lends a little more space, but I talk to my dad sometimes about it, and I'm like, it's almost like every chance you get the puck, you can go for a skate, and you almost have to tell yourself, no, I got to pass to my forwards, let them like stay back and do my job. But it's nice kind of with the bigger ice, especially when we go to some of the away barns, and yeah, like I said, there's just sometimes a lot of ice in front of you, and it's hard to resist going forward with it. So I have been very surprised though at the amount I've been going forward with the puck, but I'm definitely enjoying it.
Yeah, and it seems to be working for you, and it's certainly made you a popular figure in the stands too. I guess the only one of the only places that you can't do that as much anyway is Manchester, where we've got a double header this weekend. That's a really interesting barn to play in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I remember when I first showed up, I heard the tales of it, and oh, wait till we get to Manchester and all this stuff. So the whole bus trip, I'm kind of trying to think in my head, like, what, like, I've played in some barns, throughout my career, and trying to
Yeah.
figure out what this place is going to be like. And then we pull into the parking lot, and I was just like, so this is it. Here we go. And it lived up to the hype in some aspects. In other
Yeah.
ways, it wasn't as bad as I thought. But yeah, that's definitely that's a rugged old barn there, which is, well, I mean, it gets loud in there, and I'm sure it'd be a fun place to play with a full crowd.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's funny because U Sports is a little bit like that. I don't know whether it's the same in Hockey East, right? But I was watching some of the tape on the new guy, Mitch Cook, and I was surprised
Hmm.
that some of the barns that he played in out west were a little smaller than I expected, shall we say?
Yeah,
I don't know what.
it's
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how all the barns are out there, but I know for our division, you can get there's some smaller schools, and they don't have their own they don't have their own rink, so they use the towns or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
And so you're up in the middle and north of Ontario or something like that, and you're playing in some old wretched um barn, and you're kind of looking around like, where are we? But yeah, it's yeah, I even before I went to the league, I thought that, the rinks might be a little newer, nicer, and bigger. But yeah, you go to some old rinks.
Yeah, you sure do. And you would have been used to traveling with Ryan Penny, of course. Your old teammate at college. And I mean, how pleased for him were you when he got that 4 goal game? We were really cheering him on for the fifth too, because the Blaze record in the Elite League is 5 in a game. So we
Yeah,
were really egging him on.
yeah. Well, I mean, we were actually talking about it. I think it was that morning. Um, and he's kind of like, man, I got to score. He's like, you can't score. He's getting like a little frustrated with it. And I was like, relax, man. It's coming. Like it's gonna happen. You're getting the chances. Just relax. I guarantee it's gonna happen. And he's like, kind of game goes on. He scores the first one. I said to him, like, there you go. I told you. And then I was on the ice for a second, I think, and I was big smile when we kind of got together. I was like, I told you, man. And then he had the breakaway for the hat trick, and then the fourth one, I don't even know how that went in. It
No.
went off a guy's skate, someone's stick, hit the goalie's head, rolled down his back, and we were kind of saying, there you go. When it's your day, it's your day. So we all told him he should go buy a lottery ticket because everything was falling his way that day.
If he suddenly has a Ryan Penny shaped hole in the door, you know he hit the jackpot, the
Yeah,
Euro Millions ticket. But no,
yeah.
it's funny that you say that about like the scoring kind of just coming sometimes for guys. There've been a few guys that have been snake bit this year. At various times they've kind of got over it. But one thing that's been pretty constant is defense. We don't ship a lot of goals, and that's a huge strength, isn't it, for a team? If you're only shipping, I think it's like we're on average three a night, just over 3 a night. That's not all
Hmm.
that bad.
It's not bad at all. I think a lot of that has to go to the guy between the pipes. He definitely should get pretty much all the credit for that. But I think the decor mainly has done a pretty good job. Um, there's always things you can be better at and tighten up
Yep.
and you know improve on. But I think, like you say, if you're keeping pucks out your net, you're gonna have more chances to win hockey, especially when we've got some guys who haven't been scoring as much as they'd like, or missing, couple chances they like to have back. So when you're keeping the puck out your net, it kind of almost makes up for that. So hopefully we can keep the puck out our net, and those guys can get going again, and we can get on a nice big roll here.
Yeah. So tell us about what it's like playing in front of CJ, because I mean, the last full season we had, oh my goodness gracious me, the difference he made in that team was insane. Like it was a complete facelift. To have that much confidence in your goalie must be incredible.
It is. It. I mean, it really. It's probably not a great thing, but I know I can take more risks with
Mhm.
him on there, which you know, coach doesn't love to hear his defenseman saying that. But sorry, Stewie. Um, but yeah, he makes saves he shouldn't make. He's just a calm presence back there. He'll play the puck, and it's everything you kind of want from your goalie. He's vocal. He's talking to you in zone. He's talking between periods, saying what he's seeing. So he's like another set of eyes for us back there. And yeah, I mean, like you said, having a good goalie in the net, it completely changes the way a team plays in front of him. Just knowing that you've got a rock behind you.
Yeah. Speaking of the saves he shouldn't make, recently Belfast, the one behind the back, that might be
Uh-huh.
one of the best saves I've ever seen. That was nuts. Were you? I don't know. Were
Yeah.
you on the ice? Were you on the bench? Have you watched it back?
So I was on the ice, unfortunately. Never like to admit that when someone's got a partial breakaway, but I was, and I completely thought the puck was in. I'd almost kind of started turning back towards the bench to get off the ice. But I saw him make the save, and then I think it was I forget who was on their team, but he was, yelling at the ref. I want a penalty shot, but then he skated by me after, and he was like, "Did he just save that?" He was like, "I think he did, man." He was like, "That." He's like, "That's gotta be one of the best saves I've ever seen." And I was like, "I think me too, man. That was something." Just have the presence of mind to kind of
Yeah.
reach behind him, spin round with his facing the wrong way. I don't even know what he was doing. I can't even explain it, let alone do it or something like that. So yeah,
That's pretty good.
that was one of the best saves I think I've ever seen, at least been on the ice for.
Were they the biggest test that you've had this year, the Giants? Because they seem stacked.
They are, and um, I don't know if we just struggle in terms of matching up against them, or we were saying we maybe give them a little too much respect. But they've got a lot of good players, a lot of
Mhm.
depth. I think is one of their biggest things. They can roll three lines, and every line's going to give you trouble. And then they play a great system and structured game. They don't give up much.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes teams almost have to cheat and try things to beat them in new ways, and then that's when they kind of hit you on the counter attack or when you make those mistakes. So I personally think that they're um, best team in the league, just in terms of who we've played and how we played against them. I think they've kicked our butts twice now, um, and kind of not given us much at all in that. So I think, yeah, they're definitely when we come to play them, we gotta bring our A game to have a chance.
Yeah. There's lots of hockey coming up down the stretch to,
Hmm.
I guess, figure that out. 'Cause, you pre-scout teams, right? You've got
Yeah,
chance to try things out in certain situations. So there's a lot of 3 game weeks coming up as well.
yeah.
Look, I think you kind of said it earlier. Actually, it's like when kind of early in the season when the ice went, we've got to practice a lot. We're not playing any games. No one likes to
Hmm.
practice and not playing any games. Now you kind of fill your boots almost.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's one of those things where you want to play the games, and there's a balance between playing too many games and being exhausted and just mentally being like,
Sure.
we got another game tomorrow, you kidding me? But it's also nice to kind of have those games in the week and kind of, like I said earlier, if you have a bad game, you don't want to sit around for a week
Mhm.
and wait till next Saturday to kind of play. It'd be nice to get back out there and have a day off to rest, day to recuperate practice, and then you're back at it. And then same thing. You have a good game. You don't want to just sit for a week on a good game. You want to get back out there because you're feeling good. So, yeah, we'll see if the 3-3s and the heavier schedule gets tiresome. I'm sure it will at times. But also just having that mindset of kind of rolling on to the next game regardless of what the score was the night before, and
Yep.
yeah.
So a couple of things that spring out to me here that's important. The first thing's important anyway. We've got such a good Brickpack, haven't we? From heads out. He doesn't get a lot of ice right now because of what CJ's
Mhm.
doing. But my goodness gracious me, when he steps in, he's almost like the hidden gem, isn't he? And then from Clem through to the forwards, it's a really, I guess, underrated Brickpack. Is that fair?
I mean, it definitely is in my opinion. I don't know a ton about this league and a ton about other teams. But for the most part, and what I hear about their Brits, they're buried on the third D pairings and third lines and don't see a ton. Although there's a few, you know, good Brits like sprinkled throughout the league. But I think, like you're saying with Heads, I hope he doesn't listen to this because I don't want him to hear a compliment coming from me. But he's done excellent in when he's come in to the games, and it's never easy coming in cold off the bench. And I think he's letting one goal, something like that. So he's always done well when he's come in and given confidence to us. And I think Clem's got 4 goals or something like that this
Yep.
year. He says he's almost doubled his career total or something like that, I think.
Yep.
But no, he's steady and a rock back there. And then you had Forbesy, Feds, and V, who can all play different positions, different parts of the game, PK, power play, win draws, whatever it is. So like I said, I haven't gone through every team's roster and look who's a Brit and who's not, but from what I see, we've definitely got a solid package of Brits.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was going to ask you, and I'm going to put you on the spot now, what you thought the level of the Brits were. But if it's hard to differentiate, actually, unless you're chatting to them on a face-off or whatever, who's a Brit or who's not, it's kind of actually almost answered my question, hasn't it? Which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I often am not very good at recognizing other players and other teams.
Fair enough.
Other than generally kind of the top forward or two that you got to watch out for, I don't exactly get to know everyone's family history on the team that we're playing. I just like to go and play. But
I
yeah,
got
I
you.
mean, it's the fact that you can't pick out. I don't think I've been able to pick out a single. Oh yeah, that guy's got to be a Brit. Just shows the level of hockey and how good kind of the British hockey system is getting in terms of you know getting these guys through. And then you even look at Team GB and um, how they're kind of doing well in the World Championship. So it's definitely, you can see that hockey's improving in GB all around. So it's pretty cool to see.
I definitely want to touch on that in a second. But the other thing I wanted to complete in terms of the point was new kid, Mitch Cook, comes in midweek. I think he has one practice with the team, goes out on a 3-game weekend, puts a couple of assists in the bag. I don't think you guys would have crossed paths though in U Sports, right? You don't get a lot of cross-conference games, particularly between East and West. But what have your impressions of him been, first of all?
He's good. I like his game. I think fits in nicely to kind of what we needed. I think we needed a little bit of sandpaper, maybe a bigger body up front, a guy that can skate and get on the forecheck, and that's exactly what Cookie does. Uses speed and he gets in there, he gets in the corner, he's not afraid. So, and like you said, I think he picked up 2 assists. He had 2 points in his first 2 games, and it's never easy to do, changing countries, changing teams, changing leagues. So I think he's done an excellent job fitting in. Yeah, so I like his game, and I like him as an addition to our team.
Right on. It sounds like there's still the hunt for another centerman, so we'll see what happens with that. But getting another extra body in there will be massive down the stretch for sure. But look, you talked about GB. Okay, so you're GB eligible. I think it's after a couple of years of playing here, you have to play a certain amount of games, right? Is that something you've got half an eye on in the future? I know it's only February. We've got a lot of hockey left to play, but is that something that's crossed your mind?
Yeah, I think from what I understand, I still need to play another season next year, and then I would be eligible for the team. But yeah, it's definitely, I think Clem, Heads, Feds, and V all played on it last year.
Yep.
I think if I have that right. So 4 of them, we're all. I know it was a different one because of COVID and they were isolated and all that stuff, but they just talk about kind of how fun it is, and it's the opportunity to represent a country that you're born in and proud to be proud to be from. So yeah, I think it's definitely something I've got my eyes set on. But like you said, I guess it's over a year away from now, and um, I just got to focus on playing good hockey and being an option that they hopefully want to bring to the tournament. And I'll definitely be cheering them on pretty hard in May, so they stay in the top group.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I mean, that question may be because I'm trying to tease that we might be able to get you to stick around a little longer. Look, it's a habit of this job, you know. You just have to load your questions up a little sometimes. But
Yeah.
thank you for doing this, bud. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. I won't keep you any longer because we'll just chat all night if not. But guys, thank you so much for joining Nate and myself. Look forward to seeing you at the Sky Dome hopefully soon. And if not, hey, you can always catch Stu and I on the webcast. So stay safe out there. Take care. See you soon. Bye.